everybody. Happy Hanukkah. This is Rav Ron, and I have a Dvar Torah for Hanukkah. Alright, so first of all, there's this whole issue that people ask whether historically were the Chashmonaim really good ultimately for the Jewish people, in the sense that although they defeated the Greeks, that was fantastic, but we see that very, very soon after, once they took over as the kings of the Hasmonean dynasty, then they quickly sort of shifted and became pretty much Hellenistic themselves. They were very, very against the Prushim. They were responsible for killing many of the Prushim also. So there's a kind of an issue that in the long term, sort of the after effects of this were, there was a certain amount of negativity in terms of their treatment of the Prushim and in terms of Chazal. So what we have to then understand is, what are we happy about over here in terms of the Chashmonaim? And I'll explain like this. It's based on a whole issue which I would say is something unique about Hanukkah, something very unique which we don't find in any other Jewish holiday, and that is what? That Hanukkah is the only holiday that transcends a particular month. It goes from Kislev into Tevet. There's no other holiday like that. It has a Rosh Chodesh in it. Hanukkah is the only one like that. What is the significance of it? That it goes from one month into the other. And another thing to note is that the celebration in terms of the menorah and the miracle of the oil, that is something that took place during the battles against the Greeks. In other words, the war against the Greeks would continue after the Chanukah of the Beit HaMikdash, and later on there was more battles and more wars to be fought, and Yehuda Maccabi would actually die in one of those battles over there. So what we're celebrating in terms of the Eitei Chanukah miracle was something that was in the middle of the war. So now I think we have a better understanding of how to understand Chanukah and the way Chazal wanted us to understand Chanukah. The celebration is not tied into the date of the end, like when the whole thing is over. Okay, the war is over, now we won against the Greeks. Sort of that's the way Purim works, right? We defeated our enemies in Persia, Aman is hanged, we fight against the enemies. That's how it works there, but not here. Why? Because we are commemorating the good thing that happened in the middle. There's still a long, long way to go. And the question is, how is that follow-through going to work out? I don't know. Might work out well, might not work out well, but we're celebrating a very, very exciting point that's still a middle point. That's also why we have it structured in a way that it's in a month, and then it leads into another month. In other words, don't think that it's over now. There's a whole other cycle now beginning right after this. And therefore, we now understand that what we're celebrating is that this was a great, great beginning of a process. What happened later in the process? Well, historically it wasn't so good. And that's the message that Chazal are telling us with Hanukkah, is that when there's part of a long process, the question is, are we going to continue it well or not? I think this is also another conceptual reason behind the Beit Hillel approach of always lighting another, because we're saying, it's a long process that we're doing. And this also happens to work out connected to always the Parshiyot that we read at this time of year. The Parshiyot always at Hanukkah time is the Yosef Parshiyot, and the Yosef Parshiyot, really more than I think any other part of the Torah, is like a narrative that is broken up itself with these cliffhangers. Parsha Miketz ends with a cliffhanger that the story is always incomplete until you get the next part of it. So that is the message of Hanukkah that we're saying. What we're saying is that there are Nisim and Niflaot that happen. Very good. But we have to understand that those Nisim and Niflaot are part of a process, and that the question is, what are we going to do with it after? What's going to be our follow-through? And that's where we're going to take this thing. Because it's not just the end, this particular little thing. There's always more. The question is, what are we going to do with that more? Are we going to see this through till the end as well? Or are we not, and therefore we only have a little part of this whole episode to celebrate, but not the whole thing in its totality? Alright, that is the story. So in terms of you guys, what we have to do is go Michael El Chayil. You start doing good things, but follow through as well. Unlike how it was with the Chashmonaim, but just like what Chazal are telling us to think of during this time of Hanukkah. Chag Sameach, Hanukkah Sameach. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.